we can move on to Colleen from Raleigh asking, what are our top tips to get into ketosis faster? Faster is the word because fasting is generally the quickest way to do it. Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's kind of a few things to mention there. Just if you understand how the body works, okay, when you get into ketosis, what you're doing is you're switching over to burning fat as your primary energy source. Okay, what you've been burning is primarily glucose. All right, you're just kind of this insulin glucose thing, and that's what's keeping you out of ketosis. You then eliminate the sugar and the flour and the rice and the potatoes. You get that carbohydrate intake way down, your body then can't burn sugar anymore. Now, it's got some stored sugar. Okay, it stores it in your liver and your muscles, and for a while, it's going to break that down and keep your blood sugar elevated. Once you exhaust those stores, then it has to start burning fat, and you will start generating ketones. So as Michelle says, if you fast, okay, what's going to happen is you're going to have to draw on those stores pretty quickly. And after a day or so, they're going to be exhausted. And then you're going to start burning fat, okay? So that's a great technique to do it. The other thing I found is, look, when you exercise, okay, let's say you go out on a kind of a brisk walk for a few miles, you're going to exhaust all those stores. Okay, so that's another way to do it. To fast
use the fuel quicker.
That's right. Yeah, and this is going to get you into ketosis faster. Now, I would plan for, if you're not in ketosis, you need to be taking down that carbohydrate count. Robert Atkins, people think that Robert Atkins wrote his first book in 1992. That's not true. His first book was 1971. Okay, the guy had an extensive career where he treated a lot of very, very sick patients using these techniques. And in the first month, in that book in 1971, he allowed 4 things: meat, eggs, cheese, and butter. What is the carbohydrate count of those things?
Pretty much none.
0. Yeah. He took people all the way to 0. All right, and then after they were in ketosis and lost a good bit of weight, then he started to add in some vegetables. Right, leafy greens was the next thing. So that kind of gives you a framework idea of what kind of foods you should be eating when you want to get into ketosis. You need to get as close to 0 as possible, and don't buy into this baloney that says that somehow saturated fat from animals is bad. That is a hoax. And it's a scientific hoax. There's really not any, there was never really any convincing body of evidence that this was true. I recently attended a conference where a cardiologist gave this talk, and he went over how these recommendations were made. And then from the literature, the information on saturated fat, he concluded that, look, you can't, from the literature, take an honest look at this thing and conclude that saturated fat somehow puts you at risk for cardiovascular disease. We really don't have to. So it's really more conjecture and hearsay, in my opinion. And just folks saying things rather than real science. I mean, the word science is thrown around, but it means you really got to examine stuff and have an argument about it. And when that happens, you realize, look, and you and I see this all the time. Absolutely. When people eat saturated fat from animals and they cut out these refined things that never were in the human diet, refined sugar and grain and stuff, do they get sicker or do they get better?
Their weight goes down. Everything goes down. Blood pressure,
everything goes down. It gets better. We got years and years of doing this. So I don't want you to be scared of that. Don't buy that argument that, if you eat cheese and butter and eggs and meat, that somehow something bad's going to happen to you. It'll get you into ketosis faster. You combine it with a fast, you combine it with a fast plus some walking, and boom, you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Colleen, if you need any extra tips, please give us a call. If you're an existing patient, come on in and see us.
Colleen, one other thing I would say is that, if you're testing to see if you're in ketosis, don't bother testing in the morning. There's different routes to test. There's the urine dipstick test, there's a blood test, and then there's the breath test. Do it at like 5 in the afternoon. That's when it's going to be positive. It won't be positive first thing in the morning, even when you're in ketosis. So just don't do it then. Do it later in the day.
That's a really important